Longtime listeners will notice a bit of a discrepancy here, maybe an inconsistency. A couple of years ago, I was talking about how social media and the informational anarchy of the digital age, data overload, not being able to tell what's true, what isn't, was going to usher in social media censorship. Yes, they do call me Tonstrodamus every now and then, and that's why. It was obvious this was coming. There's going to be a crackdown on free speech because informational anarchy, when you cannot tell truth from falsehood, you do not remain free. And one of the reasons you may lose your freedom is because unrest, discord, gets to the point where there has to be a crackdown. The gatekeepers will return. That's what I was saying a few years ago. And a couple of years ago, I said that I kind of supported that there needs to be gatekeepers. I mean, if I'm going to say all of this stuff about people, how they're lost, they can't sort through the data overload, they cannot even get from the lower rung data to information, let alone knowledge and wisdom, that there probably will have to be gatekeepers in place. Now, as we sit here on August 7th, 2023, I am a free speech absolutist. I don't know how to reconcile this, other than to say that I think part of my problem, part of my cognitive dissonance here, has been triggered by what's being called disinformation, improper speech, hate speech. Oh, you're being a bully, you're hurting feelings. The trans cult, you can't disagree. You can't, there's legislation here in Michigan that's trying to make it a crime to misgender someone because they might feel threatened. Feel threatened, not be threatened. Feel threatened, a subjective term, a subjective feeling that anybody can invoke anytime. It's shit like this that's made me a free speech absolutist, because when you start filtering information streams, what people can and cannot say because, you say it's truthful or it's not truthful, shit gets inserted into that. We've all heard about legislative riders like a budget, right? Coming through Congress, well, they add this, they add that. What about truth riders? Acceptable thought riders. Speechcrime riders. R-I-D-E-R-S and W-R-I-T-E-R-S, I guess. The problem with informational gatekeepers is that then you have to have an arbiter of truth. You have to have someone who sits in a position of power to determine what is truthful and what is not truthful for everyone. And they can insert any horseshit that they want to. Like men give birth. And you are not allowed to challenge that. This DEI stuff. The new DEI religion. I really want to know where this stuff's coming from. I have not mentioned Chris Rufo yet. R-U-F-O. Yeah, if you're into the anti-woke stuff, you might have heard that name a few times. He's got a new book out. I have not bought it yet. I've not downloaded it or had it sent here in book form. A little afraid to. But he answers, or claims to answer, several questions that I've been asking for a really long time. This DEI stuff arrived about the same time as the gatekeepers did, and it's everywhere. But it's solid, it's cohesive, it's consistent, it has a name. It originated somewhere. How did it infect not only government, but corporate institutions, corporate HR departments, everywhere? How? Where did it come from? It came from a very specific place. Social eugenics. And it's part of this new definition, barometer, standard of what's truthful, what isn't, what's disinformation, and what isn't. Anything counter to this is unacceptable speech, unacceptable thought. That's what happens when you start depending upon arbiters of truth. You get speech crime, you get thought crime. But I also still see the other end of this. What's worse? That or informational anarchy, where you have no concept of truth either way. When a people cannot tell truth from falsehood, they do not remain free. I'm aware of this inconsistency. I get it. I'm working my way through it. But I'm not really 100% comfortable either way.